So this video is going to be a little bit different than my usual spiel, but I wanted to address not doing to be read as often, or the books that I read in a month. And what the person that prompted this video is a booktuber called Jamie Falk. I hope I'm pronouncing her name properly. I will put a link to her channel, and the reason that I have stopped doing it is I was actually been talking to her in a couple of comments throughout the videos, as she's a YouTuber I've been following for a while, and basically after a couple of months of me reading over 100 books, I was like, I am not going to do how am I supposed to make that concise? How am I supposed to concise that? And she was like, wow, you've read a lot. And, you know, on the one hand, yes, I had read a lot in those months. I had been off due to ongoing epilepsy issues. I've been off with back issues. I've been off with other issues from work. And so I had spent all my free time, even when I was at work, reading. I'd come away from video gaming and had spent time with gaming, and unfortunately this did lead to an unsustainable reading habit where I was consuming over 100 books a month for a couple of months. Now, we talk about consumerism in a lot of ways, but one way that we don't discuss consumerism is when are we over consuming too much books. Now, I don't think audiobooks are bad, I don't think ebooks are bad. I love reading as much as the next person, but it came to a point when I was doing my reading review and I felt like if I wasn't hitting that 100 books a month, I was not reading enough. I was not doing it properly. But when I've gone through after many comments between me and Jamie, I hope I pronounced it properly, I realised the average person is probably reading between 5 to 30 books a month. I'm just going to let that sink in. A month. And so I was pushing myself whilst I've been ill, whilst I was off, to try and read more and to even increase that. But then when it came to the rewrap, I couldn't remember a lot of it. And part of me was putting that down to my epilepsy, because something that comes with epilepsy is something called brain fog. But it wasn't. Because when you overconsume, you also forget what you've read. Now, there were some books that I had read during that time frame, which I did enjoy and did stick with me. However, for the most part, majority of the books completely lost to the wind, completely forgotten, completely no memory of. This is a problem. I would love to do a to be read list. I don't even look at my to be read list anymore. Sometimes I will add something on if it's something I love enough, but usually what commits to memory are the series that I absolutely were endowed with, because usually when I get books I will get them from the library or I'll buy them second hand. Once in a while I will go into Waterstones when I cannot find the book that I want, or if I want to pre-order a book I will pre-order it online. Those are the exceptions. I don't do that as much as I used to, because again, not only was I reading a lot of books and not picking them up again, but I was also reading unsustainably, in essence of I was reading for the sake of reading. I was reading because there was nothing else to do, and I wasn't reading for enjoyment. Now, this is a problem. It's okay. The whole point of me creating a booktube account was to talk about the books that I loved, and I guess I could also do books that I dislike, but I don't necessarily want to talk about the books that I did not like. But when it came to the wrap up, I felt a lot of pressure at the end of the month, which is why I don't do reading wrap ups anymore. I wanted to continue posting them, and I know it's what pulls in a lot of views, but I don't like doing videos which discuss multiple books. Maybe this is something that will change in a few years, as I do see that they are quite a popular video, but for me personally, they don't work and I struggle. Now, I always reach my reading goal every year, at least I have done for the past 3 years. Heck, I set my book goal as 100, and as you can imagine, when you do 3 consecutive months of reading 100, you quickly reach your goal. And now I'm just trying to find books that I vibe with. I want to return to some of the books that I perhaps didn't like, or books that I have seen and particularly want to read. Focusing my reading more rather on the quantity, on the quality and onto the quality of the books are based on my personal preferences, the books I want to read, the books I want to recommend, the books I want to talk about, and really focus on that, whilst also engaging in this booktube space and seeing what people are reading, seeing what they like talking about. And you know, I might not vibe with what it is, I might not like it. It might be that book from BookTok that I am sick of hearing, or BookTube that I'm sick of hearing about. But I want to know what people love and what people aren't enjoying. And whether or not I read a book, I want it to be based on my own preference. But I also want to engage with this BookTube community and this BookTok space. Now, I will only be doing it on BookTok. I have brought a few of my mates over onto BookTube. Sorry, I meant BookTube. I have brought a few of my mates over here, especially as a lot of them want to hear me rant, have asked me to do certain videos and hear about certain things and elements within the community. But overall, I've stopped doing the wrap-ups because there's just a point where if I can't discuss in detail, I feel like I've not read the book or done enough. Meanwhile, I'm also not finishing a lot more books than I used to. For instance, if I get to page 50 and I still can't invest, that's a do not finish. And I don't always put that on my Goodreads anymore because it's one of those where I don't want my Goodreads to just be full of not finished books. I don't want to read books that are necessarily massively hyped. I want to read books that are for me. And that's why I don't read my to be read. That's why I don't share my to be read anymore. Other than occasionally I will do my physical to be read, and I try and keep that around 20 because I don't want to do too many physical books. I see booktubers doing 800 books and I'm like, that is an insane amount of books. I'm worried. If you've got most of them as gifts, great. If you've got them free, great, brilliant. We love that for you. But it's not normal, and I just want to try and figure out what I want to be normal for me. And for me, not doing a to be read list and trying not to rush the reading process too much is something I want to focus on for the rest of the year, focusing more on the books that I enjoy rather than getting a set amount read and done. So yeah, do you do a to be read? What's on your to be read? I would still like to know what's on your to be read, and I would love to see your to be read videos. I personally won't be doing them as often. I don't want to make them a monthly thing because I don't want to pressure myself into reading books. I want to pressure myself. I would rather focus on the books that I want to read than forcing myself to read a set number of books and discovering more books that I enjoy. It's your boy Arimi Reads, and I'll see you in the next video. And once more, thanks to James for the I think it's James actually, now I'm looking at it, for the video inspiration. Again, I'll link her video, her YouTube down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.